Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from Krakkoa to Oa and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Howler. What's up, Steve?
Well, we got DC news, we got Marvel news, we've got comics news. We've actually got a smorgasbord of everything. The only thing we don't have is 7,000 shows running at once. We're down to one.
Yeah.
Well,
down to one.
No. We're down to two because as we're speaking, the season finale of House of the Dragon is airing. Yeah. So you may see a reaction pod from us at some point on that. But at this point, we also like to sleep. So you no longer get your weekly House of the Dragons.
Yeah. And I'm also a few episodes behind, or maybe just one episode, 2 episodes after tonight behind on House of the Dragon.
Okay.
So
it's worth the squeeze. The last couple have been good, so
I'm sure.
It's not like there's other things you've got going on. It's fine.
No, I mean, in this week, I'm spending most of my time decorating my house like an insane person for my yearly Halloween party.
And we all greatly appreciate it, sir.
Yes. But that does take away from my casual TV watching time. So who knows if I'll be able to squeeze in 2 hours of HOD this week.
I'm spending about that amount of time prepping my costume for said party, so.
And I'm very excited about it.
It'll be interesting.
Very excited. Yeah. Can't wait to see that reveal. Anyway, you mentioned we had a smorgasbord. This is a smorgasbord, all right, but it certainly is heavy with the DC news this week. And if you're looking for other DC news, you could check out our reaction to Black Adam, new movie starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I saw it on Thursday night. I saw it opening night. And Steve didn't. Nope. But I talked about it. He asked me questions about it. We started off spoiler free, and then we get to spoilers at the end, so you can listen to part of it without getting anything spoiled for you. Check that out. That should be in your feed right now. Not only that, but we also did a reaction to episode 7 of Star Wars Andor, a show that we both love very much. That's up in your feeds right now as well. Check that out. Now we're going to plunge into this DC news, starting off, as we do, with another episode of Flash Watch.
Yep.
Excellent theme
song.
Still there. This is quick. Ezra Miller has pleaded not guilty to felony burglary in a Vermont court.
Okay.
Yay. We'll see what happens there. If it goes south for Miller, they could face up to 26 years in prison.
Yeah, that seems not great. It's not great if he's going to stay on as the Flash.
Seems like he might not. I honestly, I'd be shocked at no matter how good this movie does. I would be shocked if they keep him on as the Flash. Keep them on as the Flash. I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I won't disagree. I think that it's the right maneuver to make. If you're doing something like a Flashpoint type situation, you have intersections of things and timey-wimey shit happening that can be like, oh, look, it's not him anymore. Oh, darn. There you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
You have an out. Use
comics. it. Exactly. Figure it out. You got it. All right. That's all of Flash Watch. Flash Watch is over. Moving on to this, there was an enormous dump of information, a huge report from the Hollywood Reporter this week, all about what's going on at Warner Brothers Discovery and specifically the DC universe. Tons of nuggets of information. And we're just going to kind of go through it little by little.
And some of it's stuff we expected, some of it's new, and some of it's completely novel.
Yeah. And for a big DC fan and superhero fans in general, I feel like a lot of this should be exciting.
Except for maybe the first part.
Well, sure. But in general, I would say this is the most positive report we've gotten
True.
About what's going on at Warner
true.
Bros. Discovery in regards to DC since the merger with Discovery. Starting it off, Walter Hamada former president of DC Films, has officially left Warner Brothers, as was foretold to us by another report from a few months ago. Walter Hamada almost quit after Batgirl got canceled and was convinced to stay on until Black Adam was released, and Black Adam is a movie that he had a lot to do with, I guess, as a producer. So he, as was expected, Black Adam came out this weekend. He had his last day at Warner Brothers this past week as well. Apparently, he did not even attend the premiere of Black Adam. Not only that, he is leaving the studio without taking, I guess, what is traditionally known as a producer's deal with the studio. I think if a high-up producer or, filmmaker, whatever, creative has been with the studio for a long time, they get like a producer's deal where they'll still get their name on movies and they'll get like money from making movies that they didn't really have anything to do with, I think. And he's not taking one of those deals from Warner Brothers Discovery, which both of those things, the fact that he didn't go to the premiere of the movie that he helped bring to life, and he's not taking a producer's deal, really kind of show you that there's a lot of bad blood between Walter Hamada and the new regime at Warner Brothers Discovery. It's been like a rough transition, I guess, at least for him.
That's one way.
So he's gone. Yeah. And I guess that's bad news depending on how you feel about him and the decisions that he made while he was there. But one thing that I'm very excited about, this report also indicates that James Gunn is officially pitching new DC projects to Warner Brothers Discovery. There's no word right now on what those are, but whatever they are, it's confirmed that Peacemaker Season 2 would come first. And, didn't we hear a while ago that he was going to do an Amanda Waller series for HBO Max?
I thought so. I thought that was... it was either a heavy rumor or... Yeah.
I thought it was clear. This report didn't mention the Amanda Waller series, but maybe that's one of the things that he's talking about still. Maybe it wasn't officially greenlit. I don't know. That's exciting to me because you all know that I am a huge fan of his Suicide Squad movie, huge fan of Peacemaker Season 1. Steve, I know that you are as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was an amazing season of television. Very excited about a Season 2. And excited about Amanda Waller series as well, if that is happening. Really, anything that this guy wants to do in the DC universe, I'm down with. There was a rumor a month or so ago, but it was pretty foundless, that he was going to do the next Justice League movie. Again, that was just a rumor that I don't think it was ever confirmed, and it was from, I think someone just made it up and it found some traction. But I would love him to do a Justice League movie. I think he's a great writer and director, and I think he, when given free reign to do what he wants to do, I think he can make some great films. And his Guardian movies are no slouch as well.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, with him, it's like you kind of like if you sign up like Taika Waititi to direct something, about what you're getting. At least the feel. At least where the boundaries are or aren't in Gunn's case.
Right.
So yeah, do you sign him up for a different take on it? Yeah,
I don't know.
Because it would be a dramatically different take than Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing that makes me think that he wouldn't do Justice League is he seems to be more comfortable with less than A-list characters.
Yeah, where he has a little bit more play and more freedom to
do what he wants. Yeah, with Guardians or Suicide Squad or Peacemaker or whatever. That seems to be his wheelhouse. And that's great for DC fans like me that definitely want to see, of course, yeah, do I want more Batman and Wonder Woman and Justice League type movies? Yes, I do.
Right. But you also want Ratcatcher.
Yeah, I want more, Peacemaker is a character that I barely knew anything about. I think I had seen him before, but that's it. But now I want more of that character. The Suicide Squad movie introduced me to a lot of characters that I didn't know. But now I would love either more of those, or I would love, lesser, Blue Beetle or Booster Gold. I guess they're making a Blue Beetle movie already,
right.
But, like a Booster Gold movie or like a Plastic Man or something that's like not quite A-list, but something that he could still have that freedom to do, I would love. Now, this article also points out that it's possible that Warner Brothers Discovery is hoping that James Gunn will take the reins on a new Superman movie. And again, I don't know if he would want to do that because he seems more comfortable with, lesser known characters. This report says, though, that Warner Brothers has an, quote, intense desire to have Henry Cavill reprise the role of Superman. Incredible news, if you're me or anyone that, if you're a Superman fan, I don't think there's many people that don't like Henry Cavill as Superman. I think if you are a fan of Superman, you like him as Superman. Whether or not you like the movies that he's been in as Superman, a lot of people can still say he seems like he would be good if he was in a better movie. But this report says Warner Brothers really wants him to return to the role, and we've heard a few times that they want to bring Superman back into the fold, and that it's a crime that he hasn't been, and I agree with that. It's one of the things that David Zaslav and I seem to agree on, that Superman's been on the sidelines for way too long. This would essentially, the new Superman movie would essentially be a sequel to Man of Steel. It would essentially be Man of Steel 2. There are no writers or any, it's not being made. It's not being even written or conceived at this point. But the studio, I guess, is eyeing somebody like Christopher McQuarrie, who's the writer-director of the most recent Mission Impossible films. Although there hasn't been any official outreach to him or anything.
Right.
This report just mentions that he's on their short list, I guess, of people they would like to see involved in a Superman movie. And if I am remembering correctly, I feel like years ago, before he really got fully involved in the Mission Impossible series, he talked about or gave an interview, or maybe it was just on Twitter or something, about how he would love to do a Superman movie. So that may be why his name is lingering on their shortlist. Speaking of Superman, and I just mentioned Black Adam came out this weekend. Dwayne The Rock Johnson has been very outspoken about his hope to have Black Adam fight Superman in some future film. He's said it years before the movie has been released, and he's been saying it a lot on this press tour. That's his goal, is to have a Superman versus Black Adam movie someday. This article says that he might be a major reason why the studio is open to Cavill's return. I guess there's some connection between The Rock's business partner is Henry Cavill's agent or something. There's a connection there, and they know each other, and so it seemed, the report doesn't necessarily say this, but it seems like The Rock wants Black Adam to fight Superman, but specifically he wants to fight Henry Cavill's Superman. So that's all good news for people that want Henry Cavill to return as Superman. The Rock is there's a lot of famous A-list actors. Not all of them have necessarily power in the industry.
Right.
The Rock is someone that has actual power in the industry with his own production company, and just that all of his movies make $1 billion. He can get stuff done. So this report is crediting him as being a reason that the studio is very open to Henry Cavill returning, where Walter Hamada, who we just talked about, who just recently left, he had been against the idea of Cavill returning as Superman because of Cavill being connected to the Zack Snyder of it all.
Right. The hard ties.
Yeah, exactly. I think Walter Hamada was in a place where he didn't want really to have anything to do with anything related to Zack Snyder or Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think the studio kind of really regretted giving him his Justice League movie and paying him tons of extra money for a movie that didn't necessarily perform the way that they wanted it to on HBO Max. So apparently Walter Hamada has been the reason that there hasn't been more traction in getting Henry Cavill to return as Superman. But Dwayne Johnson is pushing for it, and if he's pushing for it, then I'm pushing for him. So I'm all about that. And all of this talk about Superman, the report goes on to say, makes it unclear what's going to happen with the previously announced J.J. Abrams produced Black Superman movie. It's going to be written by Ta-Nehisi Coates. It's going to feature a Black Superman and take place outside of the mainline DC continuity. That's the first time that has been confirmed in this report. Because when they announced that, it was kind of like, where is this going to be? What's going on? But similar to Todd Phillips's Joker or Matt Reeves' Batman, if this movie still gets made, it would be like an outside continuity thing and different, like a multiverse kind of situation. This report doesn't say really where we are in production of this movie or what's going on, but it does mention that J.J. Abrams is still on track to produce this movie. So I guess that means it's still happening, although it also helps us remember that J.J. Abrams recently had a couple of his shows that were going to be HBO Max originals dealing with the dark, mythic side of DC Universe. Just got axed to HBO Max, and now they're being shopped to other streamers. So I guess it's a possibility that this movie could still be made and just be like a Netflix original Black Superman movie. Who knows?
They're doing the shopping thing again, which is just weird.
It is weird. And, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if this movie's ever even going to be made, but, like,
right.
I don't, I feel like, sure, J.J. Abrams has had some misses, but he's a powerful producer. If you have J.J. Abrams that's he's literally working for you and trying to make, like, one of the most powerful producer directors in Hollywood is trying to make shows and movies for you based on characters that you exclusively own, and you're saying no. Like, I don't understand the logic there at all. I don't get it. Ugh. All right. That's basically all the Superman stuff. Any comments on the Superman stuff, Steve?
No, I mean, I'm with you. I'm excited to see Cavill back, and that's about the extent of what I've got.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens when. Keep going, Johnson. Keep pushing those guys. Make it happen. We have, moving from Superman into some Batman news. Matt Reeves, currently developing a sequel to The Batman as well as the Penguin spinoff series we talked about last week. Colin Farrell gave a little bit of an update on what that looks like and feels like.
That it exists,
and it's still happening, which is great. Starts filming early next year. That's gonna be wild. Like, it's crazy and very cool of Mr. Handsome Face Colin Farrell to not only put that makeup on for his characterization of the Penguin, but also agree to do a series as that character where it's gonna take him so long to put that makeup on every day,
every single time.
Yeah, like, that's wild. I mean, he must really like playing that character because that's a big commitment. Anyway, in addition to sequel to the Batman, which, I mean, we haven't heard anything about, but it's cool to hear that he's still working on it, and the Penguin spinoff series, he's also apparently been meeting with writers and directors to plot out movies. This report specifies movies, not just series. Movies that focus on members of Batman's rogues gallery. From mainstream, Steve's shaking his head. I have mixed feelings about this. The article says he's focusing on from mainstream characters to obscure characters. The examples named in the report include Scarecrow, Clayface, and Professor Pig. All of these are in very early stages of gestation, is the quote from the article. Very early stages. So they're just saying, like, hey, what would a Clayface movie be? So I have mixed feelings about this. Steve, I bet you can figure out why my feelings are mixed.
Might be the same reason that mine are very mixed, because we've seen, like, yes, technically DC has done a movie based on Batman's rogues gallery and made it successful, but that's basically because they made a movie about someone going crazy and slapping the Joker's name on it. And also Joaquin Phoenix putting in A+ performance, apparently.
Sure.
So there's that, but then we've seen the flip side of what happens when you try and do this a couple times and none of them work.
You're
and
speaking
that's
of the
Sonyverse.
universe. Yeah.
So I think there's very, very good reason to be trepidatious about this.
Yes. And I mean that's the first question, right? The first question is Batman going to be in these movies?
Right. Well, I guess that's the other big difference is with the rights, Warner owns the rights to Batman.
Yeah.
And yes, Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man, but they've also got fingers in the pie from everywhere else. And
they've got some weird deal with Disney that
Right.
we don't know what the specifics are. And seemingly that deal is you can't use Spider-Man in your
Right.
villain movie.
Like, bring in Miguel O'Hara. Like, bring in some Spider-Man. Bring in a Spider-Man. Bring in Ben
It's so
Reilly.
dumb.
I don't care.
So
Scarlet Spider would be great. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Instead of a Kraven the Hunter movie, make a
Miles,
Scarlet Spider
Miles
movie.
goddamn Morales, for God's sake.
Yeah, I'm figuring like at least the first 2 iterations or 3 iterations of Spider-Man might be off limits. Like, maybe they can't make a Peter, Gwen, or Miles because they're doing all the kid stuff with that.
Oh, maybe.
But like, go Ben Reilly, go Scarlet Spider, go go deep cuts, but have a spider person
Yeah.
that isn't Madam Web.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's the first question is Robert Pattinson going to be Batman in these movies? And I don't even know that you really need, if you have a good story, I don't know that you really need him to be even a main character. You just have to make him, he just has to have an appearance in the movie. And like, yeah, you mentioned Joker working, but like Joker is like his own thing. Like Joker is not Scarecrow. You know, Scarecrow's a popular villain, but he's no Joker. He's no Catwoman. He's no Riddler. And goddamn, I love Clayface. I love the idea of a Clayface movie, especially if they're going to go full, you know, giant mud monster Clayface.
Right.
And I would hope that they do, and not just like, oh, he's just going to be a guy that can, you know, wear disguises
Right.
or something. Like really dumb it down. Like
He's
no.
got one cheek that kind of looks like putty, and that's it.
Yeah, like nah, go big or don't do this. Like I want insane giant mud monster Clayface struggling to, you know, stay in a form or something. And Professor Pig, he's a lesser known villain for sure. He's on this little flag back here that I have behind me. But Steve, do you even know who Professor Pig is?
Nope.
Yeah,
No idea.
I think so. Yeah. He's like an insane. I mean, this would be a straight up horror movie. He's like an insane doctor who just does weird like body horror things. He'll like put animal parts on a human being, and you know they don't survive.
Right.
Yeah. He's just chopping people up and doing weird body horror things. So that would be gross. But I do like I'll state my implicit bias. I'm a huge DC fan. I'm a huge Batman fan. You tell me they're making a Scarecrow movie, that makes me excited, and I'll go see it. You tell me there's a Clayface movie, I'm excited, and I'll go see it. I will be more excited for those movies than I will be for Kraven the Hunter,
Right.
or Venom or whatever, because I'm more of a Batman fan than I am a Spider-Man fan. And I think Batman's villains, I think Batman has the best villains. Spider-Man is up there, but I think Batman has the best villains. They're interesting, they're intriguing, they're troubled in ways that are engaging, in ways that not all heroes have.
Yeah, I think Spidey's,
but at the same
Spidey's
time,
top end is right up there, and then it kind of, no pun intended, but peters off pretty quick.
yeah.
Like, give me Ock, give me Goblin.
Right.
Once you get beyond like the main couple, like yeah, you've got Lizard, Electro.
Yeah. But like Lizard's
Right,
a great
that's
villain,
even
but
a
it's just like
stretch.
you're just
It's like
a monster.
You're a
Yeah.
professor that turned into a monster, doctor that turned into a monster.
Right.
Cool.
Like he couldn't carry a whole movie. I don't
Kraven,
think.
Scorpion, Rhino. Like,
Yeah, can you imagine if they made a Rhino movie? Like,
I don't give them ideas, Mike. Do not
hey,
give
they're
them
making El
ideas.
Muerto.
It's true, they are making El Muerto.
But at the same time, like, you know, Joker,
They made a Morbius movie.
they made a Morbius movie. So I can sit here and say I'm more excited to see a Clayface movie than I am to see a Kraven the Hunter movie, but at the same time, part of the reason I didn't love Joker, that Joker didn't work for me, is that I realized while I was watching this movie that's like, I don't think I care about Joker unless I know Batman is going to be there to stop him, because he's the bad guy. I'm not rooting for him. I'm rooting for Batman to stop him. It's fun to watch him, but it's fun to watch him because I know he's going to go to Arkham Asylum at the end of this story when Batman stops him. And as excited as I could possibly be about a Scarecrow movie or a Clayface movie, if that's going to be the case, then I don't know that I will enjoy it when it's actually happening. What I do like is I like that he is open to using these other B-list, C-list, D-list villains either on their own or possibly if he's open to using them on their own, who knows if they're going to be in, proper Batman films like the Batman 2, maybe introduces Clayface and then he gets a spinoff or something like that. Like, I'm excited to see villains I've never seen on the screen before on the screen in live action, and not just I was mentioning this to my wife earlier. She was asking me what we were talking about tonight, and I was talking about this. And I was like, it's cool to see that he's not just going to keep using, like, the main villains. Like, it's not just going to be, like, Riddler and Joker and Catwoman and Penguin. And I was like, wait a second. All 4 of those villains were in his first movie. So
Yeah.
Gotta go somewhere else. He literally used all, like, the 4 top ones have already been used.
Oh, sorry. I'm still on the Batman's Rogues or the Rogues Galleries thing.
Yeah.
Can the next Spider-Man somehow? Well, no, because I guess the new iteration of Spidey isn't going to work out. But like, give me Felicia Hardy, give me Black Cat,
yeah,
and like that dynamic, and like
right.
there's actually it could now, because now that MJ doesn't know
right.
who the hell he is.
It does open up a romance hole.
Because that was
Parker's life.
I was trying to think. I'm like,
romance hole. That's what you call it, right?
The old romance hole. All right, checking. This is not for kids on this one.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about Rogues Gallery, and I'm going through who I didn't think of, and then I was like, oh, I forget that half the time I don't think of her as a part of the Rogues Gallery anymore. Like
Catwoman too.
Back
Catwoman,
in the day, same kind of deal.
Yeah.
Both
Catwoman hasn't been a straight up bad guy in 20 years.
Right.
And same with Felicia Hardy. It's the same dynamic.
Exactly.
Same character.
Pretty much the exact same character, yes.
Yeah. All right, so that's that. Some cool Batman moves, Batman news. Are we done with this DC report? No. Still got more to go. The search for a DC chief continues. As we remember, they were very close to getting producer Dan Lin to sign on. It was reported that he didn't take the role because of his own production company. It was also later reported that he didn't take the role because of Batgirl getting canceled, and that scared him and didn't want to work with anybody like that. Seems like, in the meantime, producer Michael DeLuca has been more or less filling in that role of a DC chief. He's been meeting with filmmakers, making decisions about Joker 2, The Flash, and Aquaman 2. Apparently, he's the one that greenlit Joker 2, so there is somebody that is there making those decisions and kind of keeping track of continuity and shepherding things forward. It's possible that could move into more of official capacity as chief of DC Films or president of DC Films, whatever, the DC version of Kevin Feige to Marvel. But no word on that right now. But it's not completely the Wild West. There is somebody there that is guiding the ship, which was good to hear, albeit in a not official capacity. A few other pieces of information from this report. The script for Wonder Woman 3 is expected to be delivered very soon. That is something that's still moving forward, apparently, which is very good to hear, because everyone was questioning that in the wake of Batgirl's cancellation. And apparently, this is a shock, a script for The Flash 2 is already done.
May want to rewrite that.
What? Yeah, you may want to take another look at that, or do a search and replace for the term Barry Allen. Replace that with a Wally West. Actually, I read, was it in this report or another one, that somebody was saying that DC is not interested in using the Wally West version of the character until down the line, and I don't know why. Who cares?
And especially now, again, we said it earlier, you have an out, use it.
You have you have an out that would be canon and respectful of the source material and would not anger fans. Wally West is a very popular character. Just use him. Use him.
That'd make too much sense. We can't do that.
Exactly. The last bit of news from this report that we're going to talk about is some quotes from the aforementioned Dwayne The Rock Johnson and his love for DC and what he feels like going forward. He says the best position, in response to DC needing somebody to like move things along, like a Kevin Feige, he said the best position that I could be in for DC is one as an advisor where I can help. I love DC. It's in my blood. In the spirit of growing up with the DC universe, I'm here to help in any way I can, including looking for and finding that right leader or leaders, which I think is great. That he's like, I think I said this in our Black Adam review at one point, but like having someone that, like we said,
He's
has
just
real
beating the
power
drum.
in the
Yeah.
industry and is like a super bankable movie star, being so invested in the DC universe is like just amazing to hear for me as a DC guy. It's just great that he's like, yo, I'm sticking with this and I'm in it and I'm gonna, make it the best that I can make it, and that's great. He also goes on to say, talking about characters that should be brought to screen, he says it's safe. It's the safer bet to continue to invest in the IP that the world knows: the Justice League, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman. I understand that, but it took convincing to get the studio to look past the Justice League into the DC universe, and there's some really cool characters there. You've just got to give it a shot and trust the investment. So that makes me think that it might have been that he was probably involved in like, nah, it's got to be Hawkman, it's got to be Dr. Fate, it's got to be Atom Smasher and Cyclone in this movie that I am starring in. You want me to be Black Adam? You got to bring in the Justice Society.
Right.
Because,
Go deep cuts.
Yeah, go deep cuts. It's like the first, like there hasn't really been anything else in any of the other mainline DC EU films where they introduced lesser known characters like that. It's all been, well, because it's taken them so long to get the Justice League established, and there's still more, there's still been some fumbles along the way. Is Cavill coming back? Is Affleck out, or is he back, or what, that kind of thing. Like, we don't, their mainline universe doesn't even have a Batman, right now. So there's been some stumbling blocks, but it's really great to see him actively like, no, we got to use Dr. Fate. We got to, because then you can use him down the line. And that's how like Marvel did it, introduce a character here or reference something, and then it makes more sense when you figure out later. It's not as confusing. So anyway, so that was a whole heck of a lot of reports and information from the Hollywood Reporter. I hope the majority of that is true, because a lot of that is cool stuff that I'm very much looking forward to as an avid DC fan.
Well, there's still more DC news.
I was going to say, we're not even done. This week we got the full trailer for season 4 of Titans, which is going to debut. I meant to write down the debut date, but it's like first week of November, I think.
Oh,
it's
wow.
like early November it comes out on HBO Max, which makes me think we would have seen this trailer
November 3rd.
before now. What's that?
November 3rd.
3rd. Yeah, look at that. It's almost here. Titans season 4 almost here. Biggest thing for this trailer is that it introduces Lex Luthor. I don't know that I knew Lex Luthor was going to be in season 4 of Titans, but bam, there he is.
Lex Luthor with his face looking like mine, which was kind of weird.
Hugely bearded Lex Luthor.
Bald as cue ball, but that was a beard.
Yeah, definitely a choice. I don't know if there's ever been. I mean, he's been around for over 80 years, so somebody at one point must have drawn him bald, but with a beard.
Well, I get like the evil goatee or whatever, but like fully bearded just threw me for a loop.
Full beard. Makes me think it was like that actor that was like, I'll do it, but I'm not shaving my beard. It took me a long time to grow this thing.
This has been here. It's not going anywhere. Sorry.
Yeah. Like I say, this looks good. It looks like more Titans. They're bringing in Lex Luthor to kind of explore his relationship with Superboy. We heard that Superboy is a clone of both Superman and Lex Luthor, like a mix of their DNA, in season 3. So kind of exploring that route a little bit, get some more seemingly training with Tim Drake, which I'm excited about. I think I've said this before, but I like this show, but it really, season 3 was this for me a lot. It seems like Titans is a show that introduces these cool characters and then figures out ways to get them to not have to use their superpowers. I don't know if it's like for saving money on effects or whatever,
Right.
but it's like, Superboy walks in and someone immediately blows kryptonite dust in his face. He's like, oh, I can't do any of my cool stuff. Or like
No.
Beast Boy can turn into one animal.
Right.
Like, okay, great. Or like Raven was on
just
the
doesn't
mascara for
do
like
anything.
half of the season.
Yeah.
For like half the season last season. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, can we? Or Starfire like lost her powers. Like, okay, can we like figure out a way that you can just do this all the time?
Right.
And I don't know. Maybe the budget's bigger, but what makes me a little bit more excited is it seems like the team roster is smaller this season. At least from this trailer, it made it seem like it was like,
A little tighter.
thinner. Like Nightwing, Starfire, Beast Boy, Raven, Superboy. That seemed kind of like the main players there. And that last time we were dealing with like Jason, Barbara Gordon was there. Hawk and Dove were still kicking around.
Yep.
Like Wonder Girl, like just a lot of, and I like Wonder Girl, so I hope she comes back. But just a lot of characters, and I hope you can like slim the roster. There's a lot of like wheel spinning with characters last season. I felt like there's too many people in this show.
Little bit of bloat.
Yeah. So it seems like Lex Luthor is kind of like diving into some dark magic to try to figure out a way to bring down, I don't know, the Titans, I guess.
Something, because, well, it's Luthor.
Yeah.
Anything.
But it looks good. Yeah. Looks good. Looks like Titans. I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah.
And I will be able to watch it very soon, sooner than I thought.
Yeah.
And now I finally got some Marvel news.
I was going to say, before we move there, one thing I wanted to bring up, I don't know if you heard the Alan Moore, who is creator extraordinaire of many things and a great creative voice, or was back when he was putting out a bunch of stuff that was good. Now notorious Crazy Man Yelling at Cloud came out and stated that the Watchmen was the 2019, and this is 3 years after it debuted, the 2019 Watchmen series was just in his brain. Basically, he said that he disowned the work in question, and that it should not be associated with the Watchmen, and that it didn't hit any of the notes. And it's like, dude, no. Like, that was some of the best television out there, and it felt like tied into that series.
I think Watchmen is my favorite live action superhero show, or comic book based television show. I don't know, I feel like every couple years, Alan Moore gives an interview and someone asks him what he thinks of like current comic books or adaptations of his work, and he always says something like that because he's never liked it.
Yeah, didn't he say something about like, if you're still an adult and watching comic book movies or something, you're like heading towards fascism or something crazy?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, Watchmen is kind of about how superheroes turn into fascism. Like, that's what that's about. So,
right.
I don't know. Like, he is. Bottom line, I think Alan Moore is a genius, and he's done some of the greatest works in the history of the medium, so he can say whatever the fuck he wants. So sorry, not for kids. I just dropped an F-bomb. Sorry.
Yeah, we were already there.
Yeah, but so he can say whatever the hell he wants, but also he seems a little not interested and disconnected, and he seems like he doesn't even write comics anymore. Like, didn't he retire officially a few years ago?
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, he's never been one that has liked adaptations of anything. He's like, the work is the work, and this is the book, and it shouldn't be anything other than the book. And I understand that mentality, but he's just not someone that's into that kind of. He's not into adaptations of comics, I don't think. So he's never going to say anything. He's never going to say anything positive. I think people either think he's going to, or they want to be the ones where he says something that he likes something, because then their interview will go everywhere or blow up. But I don't know. I just feel like whenever I see Alan Moore said something, I'm like, of course he did. Who cares? He's a genius. Let him. I'll just go read Watchmen. And yeah, I love that show. I really need to rewatch that show. It's incredible.
Yeah, that was really good.
So
that was the only thing. That was the only reason it jumped at me, was like, Watchmen was so goddamn good. Why?
I know.
Why would you say that?
I think, I mean, he's probably a little curmudgeon-y. It seems like he's always been that way, and now he's just an old curmudgeon-y guy, deservedly. Like, I don't
Oh
blame
yeah,
him.
like I could totally. I mean, if you see a picture of him, you could totally see him just sitting on his porch yelling, "Get the hell off my lawn!"
Oh yeah. I mean, also, I'm thinking about it like this. Also, he created these works for these big comic book companies as a work for hire. Like, he didn't. I'm sure he didn't see a dime from the Watchmen television show.
Right.
And they legally don't have to. And he's someone that's like, well, screw you. I'm not even gonna. I hate this, so I don't even want my name. He asked his name to be taken off of, was it League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and V for Vendetta?
Yeah,
Like,
both
he's
of
like,
them.
no, don't even say based on the book by me. Like, don't. So, I don't know.
I forgot V was him too.
Yeah, he's just Alan Moore. He's just Alan Moore in it, left and right.
All right.
What are you gonna do?
Old man yells at cloud.
Yeah. So anyway, we got a little bit of Marvel news regarding the upcoming, about a year away maybe, X-Men '97 cartoon revival of the Fox animated
Beloved
X-Men
animated series. Yep.
that we're all very excited about.
Oh yeah.
Bo DeMaio is the head writer on that series of the new relaunch of that series, X-Men '97. He did a Q&A via his Instagram account apparently, and said, among other things, he said he's been working on the show for a full 2 years. He was hired in the fall of 2020, so he's been working on it. So when did they announce this show? Was it a year ago?
Yeah, he had been working on it before they announced it.
So he was working on it for a year before they even announced it. And that he filled the writer's room with, quote, only fans of the material, saying you have to respect the work before you can add to its legacy. I feel like I'm mixed on that idea. Like, I understand that you have to respect. I understand having a respect for the work, but like, I think if you surround yourself with only fans of the thing, you are maybe limiting yourself. Like, I feel like you shouldn't hold it in such high regard that you're not going to take like a big swing or take a chance.
Right. Well, he did follow
be.
that up in the article with a quote about, and I don't have the direct quote in front of me unless I do, and it's in the notes, and I'm not reading them right now and looking at you. But effectively, when he was working, because he was one of the writers on Witcher, and that there were active people in the writer's room that were saying, like, that were dismissing and making fun of the books and the games. And I think it was, I think the quote itself was more of, this is coming from a beloved, like, it's a continuation of a series that's held in high regard by it. It'd be like if somebody directly like picked up Batman the Animated Series and made a perfect like start from the end of what we saw there and go forward. Yeah. And just didn't regard the original series at all. So
right. No, that's why I say I agree with the quote about you have to respect the work. Like, you have to be respectful about it. But I don't necessarily think you have to be like a fan of it, because if you're a fan of it, you might be too precious about it to try something new. Yeah. And if it's just the same thing, like, I guess we live in a world where a lot of people just want the same thing recycled to them over and over again that they love from their childhood. But I'm someone that likes maybe a little bit of a mix of that. Like, yeah, give me some of that, but also like take it in a new direction. And if you have only fans that are super precious about it, they may not see that new direction.
Hello, Rings of Power. How are you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, another fan asked him about if Rogue was going to be in Spotlighted. I guess in the series, I didn't realize this, in the comic books now she can control her power. She's like in control of it. Yeah, whether or not she can touch somebody, I didn't realize that. That's cool.
And that's that's stuff that's evolved over the years. And even in the original, it's not like they addressed like where she got her powers and all that. So the take on Rogue in the original was a little different than what some people expected, and I think and she was kind of more of a backseat character, sometimes a damsel in distress character, which is like very much not Rogue. Yeah, so
that's true. And he said that he has mixed feelings on the fact that she can control her powers better in current continuity. But he did say that Rogue fans will have plenty to be excited about in this series, and that she's definitely highlight of the series. And I'll be excited about that as well. When asked about how long he'll be working on the series, he said for the foreseeable future, and that he is not worried about how fans will react to the show. He means he said, I care, but I'm not worried, meaning he cares about fan reaction, but he is confident in the material,
Right.
That fans will enjoy it. And I'm confident that we'll enjoy it as well.
I would say you're right.
Yeah. So that's cool to hear an update on that. Supposed to debut on Disney Plus in the fall of 2023, so we're about a year away from X-Men 97. Moving into some comic news. Not a ton of comic news, but we got announcement that current and classic artists are teaming up at DC to celebrate Nightwing for his 100th issue, Nightwing 100, coming out mid-January. It's a 56-page oversized issue. It's going to be written by Tom Taylor, current writer of Nightwing. But this landmark issue will also feature art by the current artist, Bruno Redondo, but also Rick Leonardi, Scott McDaniel, Mike Janlin, and Javier Fernandez, also who are all famous for drawing Nightwing in the past. Also going to be variant covers by none other than Jim Lee, Jamal Campbell, Jorge Jimenez, Javier Fernandez again, Travis Moore, Babs Tarr, Dan Mora, and the great George Perez, who co-created the character of Nightwing and designed his original suit. There's going to be a variant cover spotlighting George Perez artwork of Nightwing, which I think is great.
I will be getting that.
Yeah, for sure.
I hate that you've made me enjoy as many DC comics as I have.
Don't hate it. Welcome. We love you.
Well, no, it just adds to the pile. Remember, we're back on the pile concept.
I know, man. Hey, I bought 2 comics this week, and I read both of them.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I bought 2 comics this week, but one of them was for you, so.
Thank you, by the way. I appreciate that.
I physically bought 2 of them. Just one was not for me.
Can't wait. One was for my son, and I read it to him. So that's the only reason I read that one. But the other one was the dude, I gotta say, we're about to get into this week's, and I feel like we usually do this after I read the weeks of comics, but we're already there talking. So I know I mentioned this before, but these Batman One Bad Day books have been great, I think, so far. I just read the Penguin one, is the one that came out this past week. Super cool. Radically different story from the Riddler for the Two-Face, but I don't know. Great. Like, it's hard. I feel like sometimes it's hard to write a Penguin story and have Penguin be the main character and be scary or villainous enough or interesting enough, but I don't know. They found a way to
make it work.
Funny and interesting, and I don't know. Just super cool.
Oh, along those lines, you said for your son. Remember last week or 2 weeks ago, I had mentioned I was reading a book to my son.
Yeah.
It was Batman's Mystery Case Book.
Oh, cool.
So that was a fun little jaunt. It was, it was the Free Comic Book Day version or whatever that had like one issue of it, but that seemed promising.
Oh, nice. The book I read to my son was a new run of Batman and Scooby-Doo mysteries.
Oh, nice.
We did the last one ended last year, I think. I didn't realize they were doing another run, but issue 1 of that just started. It was fun and cool. And they come up with cool ways to like introduce like a bunch of random other like characters connected to Batman, or like either whether they're part of the Bat family or just random DC characters. It's cool how they work them in.
Nice.
Also, this is not comics related, but speaking of Batman content that's great for little kids, the 8 episodes of the Batwheels show is now on HBO Max, and it's basically it's like it's a Batman show, but the vehicles are sentient and the main characters, and they talk to each other. Which
so
my
it's
son,
like Batman and Cars combined.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And Batman's sometimes not even in the episodes.
And I also got very much that from looking at the animation style.
Yep.
It's like, wow, that looks like Lightning McQueen is the Batmobile.
The Batmobile. Yes, that's exactly what it is. But he's like he's almost too old for it. He's like and my son is just turned 6. So it's definitely like, it's probably more for like preschool kids, but I know he still really likes it. Or maybe I'm just I could be, thinking too much about it. He really likes it. So if you're looking for a superhero thing to show your kids, Bat Wheels on HBO Max, it's a cool show if you like that kind of thing. This week in your local comic book shops, you got plenty to choose from. Action Comics number 1048, Amazing Spider-Man number 12, Batman Beyond the White Knight number 6, Bloodshot Unleashed number 2, Catwoman Lonely City number 4. I'm so excited that Catwoman Lonely City is back. I thought that it was never coming back. It's been a long time, and this book is incredible. So Lonely City number 4 out this week. Damn Them All number 1. DC Horror presents Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead number 2. I read the first one and it was very good. The one written by Bruce Campbell. DC versus Vampires number 10. Detective Comics 1065. Harley Quinn number 23. House of Slaughter number 10. Human Target number 8. Lovesick number 1. Moon Knight Annual number 1. New Mutants 31. Punchline, the Gotham game, the return of Punchline number 1 is out this week. Riddler Year 1, that's the one that's written by Paul Dano, who played the Riddler in Matt Reeves' Batman. That'll be interesting. Star Trek number 1. Star Wars Dr. Aphra number 25. The Variants, the Gail Simone, Jessica Jones book number 4 is out. Thunderbolts number 3. Vanish number 2. Venom number 12. We Only Find Them When They're Dead number 14. And Wolverine number 26. Plus so many other wonderful comic books on the stands this week. So you haven't read anything? You're still staring at a full stack there?
Read Batman 126, gearing up for 127 that I just bought for us. But that's it.
I feel like I have to reread Batman 126 at this point because it's been so long that I've been out of it. I feel like I got to go back and make sure I know what's going on. Because I feel like I don't. I remember what happened in that first issue, the 125.
Right. But
then I forgot. And I remember how 26 ended, but then I don't remember why it ended that way. I'll have to figure it out.
Probably worth a quick read.
Did I read something else? I thought there was... What's that?
Probably worth a quick read.
Yeah, I think probably too. I feel like I read something else, but I don't remember what it was. I think I was down here. I was supposed to be working, and I just picked up a book and spent 15 minutes reading that instead of working for a little bit. Just kind of chipping away at my pile. But anyway, we don't have a ton of one-shots this week, but... What, you looking for something?
No, in my brain, I was like, I definitely read something around here, but I don't know.
I know, I feel like I did too. I don't remember. Oh, I caught up on Poison Ivy. That's the thing that I read.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, that's very good.
Continues to
only 2 one-shots tonight. I'll kick it off.
I got a third for you, too.
Ooh, Steve's got a third. Can't wait. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 video game. Confirmed to still be on track to be released sometime in 2023. There were starting to be rumors because we hadn't heard anything since the announcement trailer that was like a year ago or something at this point, like a long time ago that we got that. And there hasn't been any updates. There hasn't been a new trailer. There hasn't been any official release date. Confirmed that Insomniac Games is still on track to have it be released next year. And that's good news for everybody. They're also still working on a Wolverine game, which I'm stoked about.
Absolutely. The second one-shot would be that Catherine Hahn has given an update on Agatha Coven of Chaos, the series we didn't know we needed or wanted.
Still not sure if we need it or want
it. Quote, we're in the middle of getting the Coven ready, and it's going to be very delicious. We start shooting in about a month. I don't know why delicious seems very odd there, but whatever. Either way, we'll probably at least give it a run. But series is described as a dark comedy and scheduled to debut on Disney Plus in late 2023.
Well, I feel like that seems like something they'd want to put out around Halloween.
Yeah,
like a spooky witch
maybe that's
show.
Maybe that's next year's seasonal treat.
I mean, I wish it would just be another Werewolf by Night, but
right, it was so good.
Can't win them all.
Things you may be able to win. The third one that I wanted to add was a reminder that Star Wars Tales of the Jedi will be debuting in 3 days on Disney Plus. So they did come out and confirm that a couple of things, that the episodes range from 10 to 17 minutes. There are 6 episodes, and they got all of the voice cast back from the Clone Wars, except for Ian McDiarmid is actually playing Palpatine.
Oh, no way.
So he came back for some other something recently, and then Because the original in Clone Wars, the original voice actor died, Ian Abercrombie, for Palpatine. And then, do you know who stood in as the voice of Sheev Palpatine in the Clone Wars? I know you are very familiar with his work as an actor.
No.
I could give you a clue about it.
Is that a clue?
Yes.
So somebody from the movie Clue? Was it the guy whose name I can't remember?
None other than Tim Curry himself.
Tim Curry
was Emperor Sheev Palpatine in the back half of the Clone Wars.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So in Rebels, Sam Witwer.
I could only think of Tim. I could not think of his last name. I was like, Tim.
Yeah, you
Tim,
can like picture him,
Tim.
and you're like,
Yeah.
I saw it listed in one of the things, and I'm like, that Tim Curry, really? Okay,
Wow.
didn't even dawn on me.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so Tim Curry is Palpatine, or was, at one point.
Yeah, it was funny. My wife was getting my son set up to watch something on Disney Plus earlier today, and I heard her say, "Oh, Tales of the Jedi," and I just yelled from the other side of the house, "Is that out yet?" Like, because I was just, I had been quiet for like 15 minutes, and I hear one thing about Star Wars, and I just exploded, and I demand to know about this thing. So it comes out on the 26th. Is that right?
26th, yes.
26th. All right, cool. I'll have to watch those. Yeah, I'm excited about those because I said, because my wife asked me later, she said, "Is that something that you think Sam could watch?" My son.
Yep.
And I said, I was like, maybe they're animated, but sometimes the animated stuff's pretty dark, but I'll probably watch them first because I don't necessarily want it to like spoil something in a movie later on. But my hope is that because from the trailers, they seem like they're origins of these characters, like Ahsoka and Count Dooku.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it might even be a better thing for him to watch ahead of time. So he goes into Attack of the Clones knowing where Count Dooku came from and seeing how he became identified with the Emperor or whatever, mixed up with the Emperor. And same with Ahsoka. So he gets like a taste of what she's about before we actually start watching Clone Wars in a little bit here. So
nice. Yeah, I had to laugh. Was probably, and we're into random Star Wars tangents because we never do that.
Never.
What was it? About a month ago, my son had just because it would have been right after his birthday. My son had just watched Empire for the first time, and allowed me to no longer have to keep the biggest secret in fandom anymore.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely hilarious because a 5-year-old does not put Luke and Anakin Skywalker, like it never didn't.
No, I know.
Like he knew Anakin, he knew Luke, didn't put two and two together.
That's funny.
But my father had him a random weekend, and he asked to watch Star Wars, and he asked to watch the third Star Wars. Thankfully, my father's brain, the other ones don't even exist because he didn't even remember that the prequels happened. So he threw on Return of the Jedi. But like personally, I had held off on Return because the first is like you're in Jabba's palace, and there's all sorts of crazy things happening, and like the Twi'lek dancers, and like all this, and like I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, so you showed him that, like I had been holding off on it, I'm like, we'll give him some time on that one. Yeah. He's like, he showed him that, and then they stopped right after the Sarlacc pit, and I'm like, the rest of the movie is the stuff that I wouldn't mind him watching.
Yeah, the teddy bears.
Right, like he didn't even get to see the Ewoks. Come on. So at some point we have to.
He still hasn't seen all of it?
No, he still hasn't seen the back half of it.
Oh, wow. Well, at least that gives you, like, because when you told me that, I remember you telling me that
I think offline
your
I
dad
told
showed
you
him Return of the Jedi. I was like, oh, he just, like, took that experience away from you.
Right.
Like, showing your son Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
But you get to still watch at least most of it with him, so that's good.
Yeah, no, he, it was funny because he's like, I asked him, like, how far did you guys get? Because he did it before bed and whatever, and he's like, we got a little ways into it. Like, I watched Lando fall into the pit, and Luke had his lightsaber. I'm like, okay, I know where you are. We're good. Yeah. He's like, that pit monster was scary. I'm like, okay, dude.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Sam still gets scared of the Sarlacc when he, or
Mhm.
not the Sarlacc, the
Rancor.
I'm blanking. Rancor, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But then you get all like, I don't know. It would have been a shame if you were robbed of the father-son stuff at the
Oh,
end
yeah.
of.
Well, it
Jedi,
was, of
watching
course,
it with
like it's not like my dad knew that he hadn't seen it or any of that.
right.
It was
Yeah.
like Sebastian was just like, okay, let's watch the third one, because
Yeah.
in his head he had just watched the second one.
Or probably, like, from my experience, it's possible that your dad wouldn't even think that it would be some kind of emotional experience for you.
Oh,
to
also
watch
true. Yeah,
Star
100%.
Wars. So he was, who cares? I'll
Right.
show,
Like, yeah, it's fine.
Whatever you want.
He wants to watch Star Wars. We'll watch Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So fun stuff.
That moment that where he's about to jump into the Sarlacc pit and he comes back up, he like bounces back
Yeah.
up on the diving board and R2 shoots the lightsaber and he
Mhm.
catches it and turns it on. That's like one of my favorite moments in
Oh,
any
it's still great.
Star Wars thing. It's the best.
Well, I think I also told you he's very obsessed with like the Star Wars soundtracks.
Yeah.
Like we'll get in the car and he's like, play Star Wars music. I'm like, okay, dude. Like
Yeah.
we drove to Legoland and listened to 45 tracks of Star Wars music the entire way down. I'm like, okay, but take a step back.
Yeah.
But like the actual, I mean the track from that is Return of the Jedi, and it starts off with the tenuous sound, and then you get the like the call to action, the da 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 da.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
like as soon as in my head, I'm watching that scene. Like
Yeah.
as soon as that hits, it's Luke pulling himself back up, and the
Yep.
da 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 da.
Boing.
Like, oh,
Yep.
okay. Like the music, especially like Williams and any of the modern the modern classical composers, like that, it just hits different. Like it sticks with you.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I just remember seeing that for the first time when I was a kid,
Yep.
and the fact that he turned the lightsaber, like the fact that that R2 shot the lightsaber out,
Mhm.
that he caught it, and then he lit it up and it was green.
Yeah.
I remember being like, "Holy crap! They can be green!" Like I just didn't know that was a thing.
They have the
Just the
technology to
color-
make them green now.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man,
Because
So
that was
great.
the actual reason why the original was blue. That was the color they could do.
right? Yeah,
Like, oh,
Yep.
we can do this. Sweet.
awesome.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, that's enough Star Wars tangenting for now. That's
Is
all
it-
I got.
Is
I
it
don't
ever
got
really
anything else.
enough, Mike? Is it ever really enough?
No, it'll never be enough, which is why, regardless of whether or not Star Wars is on the rundown, we're going to end up talking about it at some point, most likely. So
Absolutely.
it's never enough.
So, well, if you'd like to hear more of our rants about Star Wars, you can tune in weekly to us at about 9:30, and we'll go through a bunch of rundowns. We did hit Star Wars before with our Andor Episode 7 recap.
That's true.
Also, Mike's Black Adam recap. And then, I mean, technically I was there, but I never saw the movie, so whatever.
Yeah. I don't, just for a disclaimer, I don't believe we talked about Star Wars during the Black Adam recap. So
Also true.
don't get mad if you listen to that.
If you're
and
looking
you're
for all our
expecting a Star Wars
interspersive,
tangent,
yeah.
it's not going to be there. Okay.
So yeah, feel free to like, subscribe, find us on all your socials. Check us out, themultiverseport.com, multiverseport@gmail.com. Leave us a review on your podcatcher of choice or on Twitch. Follow us. Really helps the computers want to show more people our stuff. And yeah, I think that's about it for my end.
All right, my end too. So until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.